Well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it. We are on our 11th episode of From the Ground Up. We will be discussing leveraging AR systems to collect 100%. And we are joined by our peer, colleague, friend, kind of everything at this point, Jasmine Smith. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Nicole Perry. I'm the Senior Account Executive here at CareStack, and I am joined by my co-host, Maria Fortes. It needs to be Friday.
I know. Most definitely. We got like webinars each week. Well, thank you, Nicole. It's always fun to co-host our events with you. Hi, everyone, and good evening. If you don't all know me, my name is Maria Fortes, and I'm the director of the Practice Heroes program at CareStack. So on tonight's, I can't believe it, 11th series From the Ground Up. This started last year, and it's just been rolling. We have an amazing guest, Jasmine Smith, CEO and founder of Versa Solutions. Our goal today is that you'll come away with an understanding, knowledge, and pearls of wisdom that you can apply to be more successful in your business. Sounds great? Good. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Jasmine Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I own Versa Solutions, like Maria was saying. We're a service-based company where we manage the revenue cycle and accounts receivables for dental offices. So I'm so excited to be here and share some of the proven systems and processes that we've implemented for our clients over the past 6 years. Most of our new clients that come on board, they have this huge AR, right? Staff turnover and low collection. They have a cash flow problem. So really this boils down to lacking proper systems and all surrounding their revenue cycle. So if your office isn't getting paid, how can you pay yourself? How can you motivate your staff? How can you pay your staff? How can you set a reasonable budget for your marketing to get more new client or new patients? How can you cover your overhead expenses? So it's really, really important to have those systems in place so you can collect, so you can grow your business. So I'm super excited to share this presentation and hopefully clear up this burden for a lot of practices, new practice owners and existing practice owners. We're going to share a lot of points and helpful tips for you guys. And it's an open discussion, right, Maria? So if people have questions, just put it in the chat box there, and we'll get to them during the presentation. So anything we can do to help.
Oh my gosh, I was on mute. No, I said, yeah, raise your hand, put your questions in the chat box or Q&A below. I do have to tell you, this is like the most important parts of running a practice, right? Of running an organization. And I got to tell you, every time I'm working with a client or an organization, the first thing I always go to that tells me what's happening or not happening within the practice is looking at the AR, looking at collections, looking at the aging overall, because this also tells me if there's busts in the system. I think that everybody has heard me say this before. It's not the most popular of topics, if you will, but it's the most important part. It's the livelihood. You produce, your doctors, hygienists are producing, but we also need to collect. It's the most unpopular, but it's most needed discussion topic tonight. And I'm so glad that you're going to walk us through all this, Jasmine.
Thank you, Maria. Excited to be here. Excited to do it. So we have some learning objectives with the presentation today. What are you going to walk away with? So we're going to show you how to set up your systems, build a great financial policy, and how to begin a large cleanup project as a dental billing company would, as we would as billing company owners, and by knowing your numbers. So that's going to be a really important part. What numbers do you need to know in order to clear up your AR or not have cash flow problems? Really, I wish the dental schools would provide more topics on private ownership and how to work through all of these things, but there's so very few courses in that in business administration when you're going through dental school. I mean, if you majored in that before dental school, business administration, then great. Most don't. But my goal with this webinar is kind of, so to speak, help you drive the car of your practice. Stick around to the end, and we're going to be sharing a link as well where you can get some free resources to get you started, like phone scripts that your staff can use, statement message templates that could be put on your statements, and a final notice template as well. And some SOPs that you guys should really start with having in place for your staff and your new staff, your existing staff, just so everyone's on the same page. You guys can collect that much easier. Now, our first thing here, we should kind of go over what is an SOP. Stands for Standard Operating Procedure. They are documented processes that you have as a business to ensure that your services or your products are delivered consistently every time while meeting minimum quality standards. A well-written set of SOPs helps to reduce miscommunications, and it promotes adherence to industry regulations. So if your practice doesn't have an SOP for a specific task or goal, then it doesn't have a process. So you probably have a ton of SOPs for your practice you don't even know about. You have an SOP for, how you do your root canals, how you prep a crown. It's all in your head, most likely. But, for the business side of your practice, you want to get these down in an actual, document here, and for your staff. Let's see. Maria, I think we talked about this before. You were wondering how many SOPs we have as a company surrounding the dental billing. We have, as a billing company, I'll kind of let you in on this. We have over 130 SOPs in place just to do the day-to-day billing for our clients.
That's a lot.
You say 130?
Yeah, I was going to say but it's a lot, but it's needed. And go ahead. I mean, not everybody will have 130.
Right.
Have the most important, right, Jasmine? So
exactly.
Yes. So if you can maybe clarify that'll be great.
Yeah, we have 130 for a billing company for every situation that will arise, right? Every client, for all of the softwares that we work with. But for your dental office, you should have not 130 for billing. You wouldn't have that much. So, but we have so much to share, especially at the end with your SOP templates that we've created for you in preparation. So, but these are your systems. These things keep your business running like a machine. You don't want to have to train someone on you don't want to sound like a broken record player, right? So SOPs are super, super important to run your business. In line with that, they are needed in a dental office for revenue cycle and managing your AR. Literally will make your life 100% easier and your business that much more profitable. So let's see. So a couple reasons why SOPs are needed in a dental office, where they help. They reduce errors. Things are going to be done correctly the first time if they're followed correctly. It omits ambiguity, leaves the guessing work out of completing tasks for your staff. Makes your team more productive, and it allows you to retain your team. So when your team when they have clear instructions on how to solve a problem, they don't have to come up with solutions on their own. It saves them a lot of time, and it makes their job less stressful. Everyone's looking for that in a job right now. So if you have SOPs laid out, they'll be more productive. They'll feel happy about their work. Retention, right? We want to keep all of our employees.
Right. Giving them the important information, helps them to feel confident in their work and how to interact with the patient, especially ones that are, always the angry ones, right? You always get one, even though they have like past AR, but laying down the foundation, I always believe helps give your teams the tools they need to feel confident to do their job.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's key right there. And then consistency creates consistency within your practice. Obviously, you can change your SOPs according to, how your business is moving. You want to achieve the best possible outcome. So why not tweak it a little bit to get a better outcome? So SOPs can be changed. For example, if you're sending statements just once a month to all your patients that need to get a bill for that month, you'll quickly see how long it takes to get paid. You're waiting a full month to bill some of these patients to get your payment in. Now, if you switch that to weekly, switch your SOP. Okay, we send statements, every Monday, statements go out. We're going to do follow-ups every 2 days. You'll start seeing a difference. Okay, these patients are aware about their balance. They're being notified immediately. We're going to get paid quickly.
Can I ask a question, Jasmine?
Yeah.
Only because I've come across clients or have people in the past where they say like, well, I've been doing it once a month. What happens now if I do it weekly? Wouldn't that be so much? Would our patients be getting so many more statements? But that's not necessarily true. Can you clarify that?
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of the dental softwares have a feature in there where it says patients should not receive a bill or patients should receive a statement every 28 days. That's usually the default. So that's fine if you want your patient to be aware about their bill every 28 days. But you can bring that number down a little bit so that the patient receives a statement each week. And nowadays it's so easy to get a statement out there electronically, like through email or text to pay. There's so many companies that offer this feature, and even the softwares offer that feature for their, customers. So, getting a statement once a week, you probably don't want to bombard them with messages for the week. Check your state laws on harassment, but you'll be able to see, when they get these reminders and easy ways to pay, their bills they'll pay their bills. So with that, you'll have predictable cash flow outcomes. So now, from a biller's perspective, we take on these clients all the time, right? They have these huge AR problems. We have a system. We go down our checklist. We have our SOPs. This is how we're able to clean up this AR so quickly and produce such high results for our clients. For example, we recently brought on a client with $300,000 of AR. And that was just in January. Those were their starting numbers. They were bringing in no more than 100,000, in collections per month. So they're $1 million practice, but, pretty high AR there. By month 2, their AR decreased in half. It was at $120,000 total. And they saw every bit of those, of that drop. They saw it in their bank account, the $120,000 that dropped. So by month 4, their collections actually tripled because we put our systems in place. We cleaned up the past accounts. We showed them how they should collect up front and help them with their SOPs. So really, it's just no secret. It's just having a system and a proven system that works. It creates predictable results. Now they know that if they work this much, they're going to get paid this much on a monthly basis. It won't fail. So this example is really not rare. These results happen with every one of our clients. So it's fun stuff to have some predictability in your business.
It's called cash flow. Cash is king. I've heard that statement so many times throughout my experience. So
especially nowadays. So speaking of SOPs, we're just harping down on this subject, right? We have some essential ones that every practice should have. And take note that I'm not going to this will probably be the slide that we're going to spend the most time on, but the freebies at the end, we have all of these SOPs created for you just to fill in. So if you kind of get the gist of this slide here and kind of take note of what should you should have on these SOPs, it'll help you with your freebie afterwards. So number one, you should have an SOP on entering patient and insurance demographics. I couldn't tell you how much we've had issues with taking on new clients, and all of these claims are rejected because of small things. An address wasn't entered. The date of birth was incorrect for the patient. Someone just missed it on the new patient forms. The subscriber ID was a digit off. So entering these things correctly, having a checks and balances system will really, really help you. So having an SOP on that is definitely key for this cash flow problem, or preventing this problem. Now, you want to decide how this info needs to be inputted, all of it. Do you need to be, do you want it before they, get sat down in the chair? At the end of the day, when your team has time, you obviously can find ways to streamline this with all the tech that's out there right now. Patients fill out a form and it goes right into their chart. And so all you have to do is check on it. So there's different ways to streamline that. Next here, walking out, finalizing, posting treatment, whatever the verbiage or terminology is in your practice management software, you want to make sure this is the same after each appointment. You want to have that process just streamlined with your front staff to back staff. Is the doctor bringing the patient to the front and doing the handoff like that? Is the assistant doing that? Are you using routing slips? What's your process? Get it down in an SOP and document it, and this will be the norm that everyone follows. Financial policy should be followed when you're collecting your copays. So what dollar amount is high enough to sign up for care credit? What does your team have? What guidelines does your team have to follow there? Are you doing payment plans in office? How are you keeping up with those? Automated service, or are you doing that manually? So
I've got a question for you, Jasmine, about that. You touched on financial policies. I've come across two different schools of thought, and I've always been like to the latter, meaning, should I had a doctor ask me, should I have a financial policy? I just started my office. I don't want to scare people off, but I said to the doctor, it's always good to start your foundational pieces and kind of help train your patient, if you will, to know what the guidelines are, what your foundations are made of. You know what I mean? You can't go to, let's say, like a Stop and Shop and buy milk and say, I'm going to pay you later type of thing. This is different. You're rendering services. You're taking them out of pain, and you should be paid for it. So, but there's people that don't want to show their patients their financial policy, like at the beginning, and there's some that are very transparent about their policies. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel the more transparent you are with your business and how you operate, the better your outcome would be. If your patients think it's a free for all, I'll pay when I get a chance, how do you think your collections and your AR are going to suffer?
The famous bill me.
Yeah, bill me. Who can rely on that? That's not conducive to having predictable cash flow or income. So, you could definitely do that if you have it like that. But when you're starting off and you have this practice and you are working for your money and you need that money to do other things in your business, you want to have a predictable way to do that. And by being upfront with your customers, hey, I expect payment when I give you services. Like, this is a business. This is how we do things. If you need help, if you need payment plan, if you need, financing, hey, we have all the options for you. Just talk to us about it. That should all be laid out.
Right. Wendy's shares with us is that all new patients at their practice get their financial policy with new patient paperwork.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. No, that is the best way to do it, in my opinion. Personally, when I go to businesses, even the esthetician, she has a financial policy. Hey, this is what I do. There's no care credit or financing, obviously, for the esthetician, but it's a typical thing, and I think people want to see that. People want to have some to be upfront with that. So yeah, good job, Wendy. you're doing it. So another thing that we should always have an SOP for is submitting a claim. We need to get this information to the insurance company. So having outline steps on how to submit a claim, which attachments go with the corresponding procedures. Perfect. You're going to have that. Our SOP that we have procedures and what attachments should go with them. So that's all laid out for you in the SOP that we're going to give out at the end. So take a look at that. But in regards to how to get a claim out, your practice management software will likely have step-by-step instructions. A lot of them have manuals online that you can grab the link and put it in your SOP for your staff to follow. Another thing, claim tracking. Okay, good. You have everything. You sent the claim and it goes off into nowhere in space and you never hear back from the insurance company again. An SOP in place will really, really help you be able to track that claim. You'll be able to let your staff know, at what day should you start checking on the, outstanding claim, how many times, should you check on it, how many times is too much without a result, what are your goals for your claims. You want to keep all of that in mind when creating your SOP. How often should claims be researched? I say 7 to 10 days is when you should have an updated note on it. That's usually how long it takes for an insurance company to either overturn a decision, receive information, and get the payment coming back to you. Insurance remittance. When you get paid by insurance companies, how do you want this to look in your practice management software? How do you want these payments to be posted? Also, do you have an accountant that looks at your numbers? Are they looking at the insurance payments in your software and your bank account at the same time? So if you're all on the same page with, hey, each insurance payment's going to come up under this code, insurance P. So this is, what you need to look at when you're looking at my bank account as well to reconcile. They should be in tune with that. So your SOP will have good instructions there. Collections, are they being allocated correctly? Do you have an SOP or in your SOP, you're going to want to have your process on getting the money to the bank? Who's signing off on the deposit slips? Who takes the money to the bank? What's the reconciliation process thereafter? So just different things like that. Yeah.
Even an end of day process.
Yes. Yes.
You always need to have checks and balances.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That will significantly reduce your risk of embezzlement for sure as well. So, which I know later we'll touch on. Now, let's see. There's a few different ways you can receive insurance payments through check, EFT, virtual credit card. So, you may have a different process for each one that you accept there. Now, patient billing. This is a beefy one because there's so many things that you need to decide before you start billing your patients. And we have it all outlined here. Are you going to charge interest? If yes, when? At 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? At what rate? Do you want the rate to impact your adjustments or your production? What code are you using to post the interest? Did you disclose these on your financial policy? So different things to think about when charging interest. The age of the balance. how, old do you want the balance to be to send it to collections, your minimum dollar amount to bill. Do you want to send out statements for $2, for 30 cents, or is your minimum $5 or so? Sorry, Maria, were you gonna?
Well, I actually was going to ask you a question about insurance remittance. I get some questions about ERA. I don't know if you come across that, but there's people that should be on it and there's people that are afraid to start that.
So I just read some data about ERAs, and it's so underutilized in the dental field right now. And I mean, there's just so much missed opportunity for dental offices right now. So if you have the option to sign up for ERAs, it's the quickest way you're getting, your insurance, the claim information from the insurance company. And if you have a way to get EOBs online on the portals, that's great as well. But ERAs are definitely really useful. And a lot of the, practice management softwares have a way for you to get ERAs directly into your practice management software on your patient's, on your patient's claim. So
it definitely does work. I mean, I have a client that gets paid within 2 weeks after the claim sent.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a client of ours in Indiana, and they, one day we sent a claim to Delta, one of the Deltas. They have EFTs, they're signed up for EFTs, and they have ERA as well with that insurance carrier. They were paid the very next day. It was right in their bank account. And we're like, this patient just came yesterday. How did this happen? But, it's just so much quicker. You can get things done way faster when you're signed up to do things electronically. So that's our goal. Dental field, we're catching up to medical and we're getting faster.
Marie shared, I've seen EFT ERAs paid in less than 48 hours. Yeah, that's awesome. Love to hear stories like that.
Oh yeah, that's the best. That's ideal. More about patient billing. So what's your maximum dollar amount that you want to write off as bad debt? Different options here. How many times do you want to call a patient, send a statement? What's your limit? You want to decide how patients can pay their bills. Do you have a payment link online that's on your website where patients can pay, and it goes, directly to the practice management software, or sends you an email that this patient paid? You put it into the practice management software. So, or manually do that. So you want to have that laid out in your SOP. And then collection. Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about bad debt. I think it's important for the audience. Are you guys working with your CPA with respect to bad debt collections? Meaning, are they setting aside a certain percentage each month just in case, accounts do go through bad debt? So you guys should be working with your CPA or accountant regarding bad debt write-offs, your financials.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. Having your financial experts, wrapped in your practice will definitely help with your cash flow, and they can see things that maybe you don't, on your day-to-day, or your office manager may miss. So it's good to have them dialed in there. Now with submission to collections, you want to decide what your minimum dollar amount that you want to send to collections. So I know based off experience, some of the companies will only accept a balance that's more than like $40. So that may be the minimum, but some offices are like, if it's under $100, don't worry about it. If it's over $100, yeah, we'll send them to collections. Keep in mind the fee is usually about 50% of whatever you submit to them. Now, sorry. Actually, let me just share one thing. These are so many SOPs These are 8 here. We're going to send these all to you. Don't worry about it. Like I mentioned, we have templates that we're sending to you guys at the end of this, but you want to keep in mind that this isn't where you should stop. This isn't where it stops. This is just a starting point. So you want to have an SOP as well as, refunds. When do you give refunds to your patients, or even insurance when they mess up and overpay? You want a documented process of how you do that. You need a documented process of how you get your documentation done for the day, your clinical notes, your SOAP notes. So make sure that's in there. Your medical insurance. Are you billing to medical insurance? What's the process there? And additional ones you just may want to think about adding in addition to these. Again, sending all of these at the end of the webinar. Now, here's a little formula we have for recipes. Sorry, Maria, were you talking?
Mute again. Back to the submission to collections. I've had to do a lot of, submission to collections before when I was running a group practice in California. California has a lot of laws, if you will, but it was very important that we did have all those demographics. It also, electronic signature, if you will, that the patient had signed, that they are aware of your financial policy. What is your thought process on treatment plans? Meaning the financial estimates. Some people have them signed, some people don't have them signed. And how do they hold up towards collections or even maybe to court if needed?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, we did some research on that. And we got some good notes from the CDA, California Dental Association, because anything I think of legally, what can we do? I always go to California as the standard because they're the strictest.
The strictest, most definitely.
Anything HR too, I just go to California. What's the norm here? So you definitely should have your treatment plan signed, and it should be discussed with your patient, because that's your recommended treatment, right? This is how you tell your patient, this is what needs to be done. These are the procedure codes. This is what you need. And also this is how much it costs. So,
right. Because you don't want someone to say, I never signed for you to do this crown on me type of thing.
Exactly. And then also, you have your procedure. Oh man, you can tell how long it's been since I've had one of these signed. Your consent form right. In the office for, a certain procedure. So, those together, I think you'd be covered, but the main thing is documentation. You need to document everything that you do for these patients, and, keep a good record in your comm log, because ultimately medical records stand up in court.
Right.
If it has to go there.
Right. Nicole, I think we have a question in Q&A. Can you check that out for us?
I'd be happy to. We have a question. What's your opinion on frequency and amount of sending letters to patients before you would refer them to a collection company?
Great question. We get this all the time. As our billing company, Versus Solutions, we have a service that we reach out to patients for our practices, right? Our limit is 6. They get 3 statements, they get 3 phone calls. And so they get a statement, phone call, statement, phone call. So we're working with them for about 2.5 months to 3 months, letting them know about their balance, giving them a chance to ask about it. We feel that this is plenty amount of times to notify them about their statement. It's spaced out. We're not, badgering them. But if you have anything that automates this process for you, like automated email, or text to pay, you can notify the patient once a week for 6 times until, okay, this is enough. Let's send them the final notice to collections. So to answer your question, 6 is my lucky number.
Lucky number 6.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, great question. But yeah, I draw the line at 6. Some offices like to do less or more. So yeah. Now we have a little SOP formula here. If you have a plan how you're going to get paid and it's executed correctly by your team, you will have success. You will get paid. Now, if you don't get paid, if you don't have success, you're going to take it a step back, review the team execution, make sure the SOP was followed correctly. Now, if the execution was correct and you're still not getting paid, review the SOP. Something went wrong with that SOP. Something's not working there. So another thing, if you're exhausted by this presentation already, just outsource it. Just don't even worry about it. Just have someone else do it. And here we go, shameless plug versus solutions. Also, go ahead, Nicole.
No, I love this slide. I think this is awesome.
Also, CareStack has a great feature where you guys they outsource the entire insurance billing thing as well for your claims. So I think that's wonderful that CareStack does that for their customers.
I think what the best takeaway would be, obviously, take care of your foundations, create those SOPs, right? So that you don't get to the point where, you want to be healthy. But if there's a lot of bandwidth issues. There's a lot of clients that I know that, they've had a change in team member numbers, if you will. So don't be afraid to outsource tasks that can take time of the day of your employee. So just putting it out there too. It's not a shameless plug, but it's a need, Jasmine. So
yeah,
you've been doing this for forever. So you're the expert.
Yeah, my philosophy is if someone knows how to do it better than me, I'm hiring you to do it. I'm not going to find out the hard way. So outsourcing it is definitely a great option if you are like many of the practices out there right now, dealing with staff turnover, this great resignation that's happening. So, definitely a great option. Okay, now this is what your SOP should have. It should have an overview, a prerequisite task, a tutorial. Fun fact, 65% of people are visual learners, so use a video when at all possible. You want to have a checklist of things that they may need or that they have to do, and a written how-to guide going hand in hand with your tutorial video.
Nicole should have a shameless plug on Vidyard tutorial.
I can. Now that you bring it up, I can bring it up. But I was going to say, I'm very happy that you brought up like the fact that 65% of people are visual learners. Because next time I tell someone that I need to see this visually because I don't understand, I'm like, did you know that 65% of people will also need to see this? So this should just be part of your daily routine now. And now I'm not going to feel as bad for constantly asking people to share their screen with me.
Exactly.
I feel better about myself now going into the weekend.
Just share that statistic every time. 65 is share your screen, please. Doing a video is, you want to appeal to anybody who you might hire that needs to review this SOP, because the last thing you want to do is have to re-explain SOPs every time and have to create a video for, certain ones that just aren't understood, or write a checklist for ones that aren't understood. I like checklists. If you could send me like step by step what I have to do, I'll follow it, and that's good for me. Videos, I don't know, just take too long. I usually, if I have to watch a video, I'm doing it like 2 times speed, because I'm like, I can't sit here and watch this. What's next? And I'm that one during movies that's like, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? So
you're one of those people that fast forwards to like the end and then goes back and watches.
Yeah, exactly.
I am shameless.
Guilty.
Yes.
So
for those of you who do like video, I'm still going to throw it out there. Vidyard, please sponsor me. I'm begging you at this point, but Vidyard, it goes to Google Chrome, so it makes life just really easy.
Good. Yeah, that's one everyone should use then. Okay. Now, the goal that we should all have at the end of this is to create 1 SOP per week. Will take you about 10 minutes, especially if you kind of know what needs to be done, the end result. So start from the bottom to the top. What's your end result? And then work your way up. Okay, this SOP is to do this. So just try it out. Now we'll touch on financial policy a bit. This is your SOP, so to speak, for your patients. This is what they should read before they sit in your chair. Like Wendy, you have your patients sign this when they're signing their patient forms. They already know what's going on. They're aware of how you conduct your business. They know how the treatment that they receive should be paid. They'll receive a signed copy of the agreement, and they'll accept the responsibility for adhering to the guidelines of the policy. So again, you want to be clear on how you do your business with your patients.
All right, Marie shares, if you don't have SOPs, checks and balances, AR and outstanding claims can really get out of hand. And you know this because you're the one who's given all that huge project, right? Helping people get cleaned up and what have you.
Yes. Yeah, Marie, that's great point. If you don't have it, I mean, it's up for whatever at that point. So yeah, have your checklist, have your SOPs, get them in place, and you'll be good to go. Now I kind of like to think about, because I'm a foodie, I like going out to eat, right? I'm in Sacramento. There's, they're adding more restaurants here and there, but there's not so much, it's not like Chicago, right? Where you can throw a rock and get a fine dining experience. But let's take the restaurant analogy and a dental office and just kind of make it all fit together. Finest restaurant in Sacramento, right? The Cheesecake Factory. I'm just kidding. Maria, you're muted. Sorry.
I said we forgive Sacramento.
Yeah.
Been there.
No, just kidding. I'm from Chicago, and moving to Sacramento is just a huge thing, especially with food. But they're getting better, I promise. But we'll take Cheesecake Factory, right? When you go there, what do you understand when you sit down? The water's free. The delicious bread is free. Now, in a dental office, when you go to make your appointment or your patients make their appointment, what do they understand? You're going to figure out their benefits. That's a free service. And then they're going to come to your office and enjoy any of the free refreshments in your waiting room, right? So there's a mutual understanding there when you go out to eat and when you come to a new dental office. Now, the waiter brings the specials out. I'm not sure if they do that at Cheesecake Factory, honestly, but and then you order. Also, the patient, when they're in your practice, they hear their options and then they decide on their treatment, the implant or bridge. Now the next step, you look at your menu to see your prices. At the Cheesecake Factory, you kind of see the jambalaya pasta, and then your patients, what do they get? They get a treatment plan. This is what you need. This is how much it costs, and they can decide there. Cheesecake Factory, you eat. Patients in your practice, they receive their treatment. Cheesecake Factory, they ask you if you want some dessert. At your practice, you ask, okay, what's next? Let's do some whitening. You want a Sonicare toothbrush, Cocoa Floss. What do you need? What else do you want? At the end of it, in Cheesecake Factory, you take out your credit card and you pay. And then what happens in a dental office? Oh, I forgot my wallet today. Can you bill me? Can you? So everything's the same up to that point in a restaurant. So definitely having that financial SOP or financial policy for your patients, for them to understand, hey, this is a business. You have to pay me when services are rendered. This is how it works. Many people have a misconception with healthcare practices that, they don't have to pay up front, they can pay later. Do you want that kind of feel for your office is the question. So financial policy, super important. You want the patient to pay when they're all done. Okay. I'm hungry now, but building your financial policy. You want to start with, so these are some of the things that you should have in your financial policy. The philosophy of your practice. Our goal is to provide exceptional service or dental, work, and be a place where patients feel like home, like you're in a hospital, whatever your philosophy is. We prioritize your dental health. Fill in the blanks there to what you guys are feeling out for or feel for your practice. And then you want to outline the responsibilities of your patients. Are they expected to pay when services are rendered, and they just pay their estimated copay? Do they pay their entire portion and you send them a reimbursement check later? Is that how you're set up? Or are you going to have their insurance company reimburse them for whatever you're expecting from insurance? Just lay all of that out in your financial policy, however you guys are doing. The first two bullet points I mostly see with fee-for-service offices who just don't want to deal with insurance at all. They leave that up to the patient. If the patient's waiting for a reimbursement check, they're going to be calling insurance every 7 to 10 days asking, where's my money? So you don't have to pay for staff to do anything like that. But the third option is the most common. You have the patient pay their estimated copay and you wait for the insurance to pay you back. And then it goes back to what's your SOP on getting the breakdown of benefits? How well are you doing that? Are you getting everything in there? So definitely have that in there. Other talking points that you want to add in your financial policy. Some people like to reiterate the relationship between insurance and the patient. The responsibility of the patient. If the insurance doesn't pay the estimated amount, you give your time frames and then disclosing the interest amount.
It's important to have everybody sign their financial treatment plan. And then some clients also have patients sign their financial policy. I don't want to belabor it because I know that we're short on time, but once again, always adhere to your financial policy SOPs as well.
Yes, exactly. Signed treatment plan doesn't bind them to pay the balance. It just provides informed consent to document all the treatment options and the fees. So having everything signed will help you in the long run. Now, knowing your numbers, you can predict your future collections and your production. You can set reasonable goals and expectations for your office and for your staff. You can find discrepancies easily. You can grow your business. If you don't know your numbers, you can't plan for, big things that come up for your business. You can't motivate your staff to achieve higher goals. You make it easier for embezzlers if you don't know your numbers, and eventually your business will plateau. But we always want to go up. Now, collections ratio. This is something that most people don't even pay attention to. This is a metric that I think everyone should know. You want to collect at least 90%, 96% of your practice's production. Whatever you're working, how much ever you're working, you want to collect at least 96% by the end of the month. How's your practice doing? Figure it out. What's your total collections? What's your net production? Divide collections by net production, and then you reach your collections ratio. If you need more information on how to get your net production or make it easier to find, reach out afterwards. I'd be happy to go over that with you. Now, here's a few reports that will help you keep a pulse on your collections. Your AR report, production and income, your deposit report. You want to pull that on a daily basis. Procedures not billed or attached to insurance company. So where are those being missed there? Denied claims report, and then a credits report. You want to see who's all owed refunds by the end of the month. Now let's see. I think there's a point here. Woohoo!
Wendy's favorite topic, reports.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be taking a screenshot of this. So every time someone asks about reports, like which ones I should run at the end of the day, I'm like, this one.
These are the 6 main ones that I really, really like. Now your AR report, this is one that I just want to talk about for a second because I pull this all the time as a billing company. Any software will be able to split patient balances from insurance balances. And then it even goes further as to how old are these balances, 30, 60, 90. Now, a little forensic, research there shows, hey, is your 60-day a little higher than the 30-day and 90-day? What happened about 2 months ago? Oh, my office manager called out sick. They were out with COVID for like 2 weeks and, that's what happened. Well, that's probably why your 60 days is a little higher. So you'll be able to kind of tell what happened. Are the SOPs not being executed correctly? Are you having staff turnover? Did you go out on vacation? Did your staff go out on vacation? This is kind of how you're able to diagnose the issues for your cash flow issue. Production and income, you want to know how hard you're working and how much you're getting paid. Basically, that's a very important report. Deposit report, get 2 people to sign off on it, either yourself as the practice owner or your office manager and, a financial coordinator up in the front. Definitely want to have all eyes on that. Let's see. And then most softwares have a denied claims report. Basically, you can review the claims that have been marked as denied or as $0 payment in the software. CareStack has a really nice feature like that, where, when you input a claim, you can either check a box and it marks it denied. And so there's a reports that you can pull to find that. Then you can find out ways that the claim could have been appealed or resolved, and then add that in your SOP. Hey, when you get a denial for something like this, these are the things that you need to do. So next time you'll get paid for it. Okay, running low on time. So things to know when purchasing a practice, just some tips that we've seen. You may want to send an introduction letter to your patients. When dealing with old debts, include a plan to investigate and audit each account for accuracy. If you plan to change softwares, start fresh on the new one. Don't transfer account balances. It gets so messy. Just keep access to your old one for cleanup and informational purposes only. I feel that's the easiest way to make a transition to your next software. And then another tip is to invest in hiring a billing company that can help you evaluate the ROI on the purchase of your AR. Return on investment. If you do purchase the AR or buy the AR in a sale, how much are you going to get back from it? Yeah, the AR is $100,000. Are you going to see all of it? Who knows, unless you get in there and start digging. So hire a billing company to figure that out for you. So today we went over a few things. We built an AR operating procedure, or we talked about building SOPs for your practice and creating some goals. Talked about your financial policy and knowing your numbers, getting that collections ratio and making smart moves when purchasing a practice. So here's the resources, guys. We want you to have these to assist with your collections goals or collection goals. We have phone scripts for collecting in different scenarios that may come up between you and your patients or your office manager. We have statement messages and final notice templates that we prepared in a document for you. And then we also prepared those 8 must-have financial SOPs for your practice.
I think this is, Jasmine, I gotta tell you, this is great only because, a lot of our attendees are starting up their own practice or maybe, first time purchasing of their own practice. So this has been very helpful to a lot of our attendees from the ground up.
Awesome. Perfect. That's our goal. We want to help all of these practices and new practice owners.
Startups. Yep.
Yes. So here's an easy way. You get out your cell phone, put your camera on. You can hover over this QR code here and follow these instructions. A link will pop up and it'll go straight to this website that you can enter your information in, and we'll get the email out to you immediately after you submit that information. It's all automated. We love automation.
And this is free, right, Jasmine?
This is free, all free.
So
yeah.
And I would highly recommend that everyone does this, because she gave me a preview of the content. And like I told her, I was like, wow, that's like a ton of information to give out to someone. So thank you, Jasmine, for doing that, especially for all the ones that are just starting out, hence from the ground up. But they will greatly benefit from this. I think actually anyone could, but especially the startups out there.
Most definitely.
Yes. Okay. Should I change the page now, or wait for everyone to?
And then our attendees, you can email us again if you didn't catch Jasmine, but here's her, her email as well as your website email. So our startups out there that are attending, feel free to reach out to Jasmine and her team at Versa Solutions.
You can take a screenshot of this page too. You can crop us out, or Maria and I, forget about us. You can take a screenshot of just Jasmine.
Right.
They have your info probably. Yeah, reach out whenever, guys. We're so happy to help.
Well, I just want to thank everybody, especially Jasmine. Thank you so much for all of the pearls of wisdoms that you have shared to all of our startups out there, first-time business owners. I'm sure it's been very helpful for them. It takes a lot of energy and effort, if you will, to start up your own business. And we want to be the resource for you. That's the reason why we find Jasmine and Versa to kind of help you guide your way, right? We want to encourage our audience to reach out to Jasmine and her team. If you have further questions, I know she'll be happy to take your calls. So once again, thank you so much to all of our attendees, all you first-time business owners and startups. We appreciate you. We know it's tough out there. You're not alone. We're here for you. And Jasmine, once again, thank you so much, and giving all the freebies to our startup audience out there and first-time business owners. We so appreciate it.
Thank you, Jasmine, and for putting together such a phenomenal presentation. Even the content, the physical layout, we really appreciate it.
Oh, Thank you guys so much. Thanks for having us. For me.
Well, thanks everyone, and we hope you have a great evening. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.